A full month passed. Kyungwon and Cheon had grown notably stronger. They fought like wild beasts, relentless and brutal. The divine physician finally called off their sparring for the day and brought out the physical injury balm to treat their wounds. Kyungwon tried to tough it out, saying he didn't need any balm, but he was clearly battered and bruised. The balm stung, but it worked. Suddenly, Tason appeared and casually commented that the balm was actually really good. Surprised, the physician asked what he was doing there, but Tason reminded him that he'd said from the beginning he would emerge after 1 month. What shocked the physician more was how much time had passed. Had it really been a month already? To satisfy his curiosity, Tason smashed his face into his palm and ordered him to check his pulse instead of asking pointless questions. The physician checked and was stunned. Tason's pulse had recovered. His body had completely changed. Over the past month, Tason had been refining and stabilizing the meridians he had hastily connected before. Not only that, but the very nature of his soul energy had transformed. Previously, it had been destructive and wild, but now it was dense, tightly bound, and far harder to control. It wasn't yet perfect, but if he continued at this pace, he might one day achieve a flawless physical body. Tason then scolded the physician, accusing him of making the balm unnecessarily painful just to take out his frustration. He told him to fix the blend, warning him not to use his concoctions as outlets for petty anger. He then told him they needed to talk. As the conversation progressed, Tason dropped a new piece of information. He was heading to Yan Manor the next day. Cheon was alarmed and worried it was about her, perhaps to cancel his engagement with the young miss of the manor, but Tason quickly cleared the misunderstanding. The reason was unrelated. It was because he had received a letter from the Jongli clan. They had called him to meet at Yan Manor, and that was the purpose of his visit. This was all the information they had managed to gather on the Jongli clan, which they presented to Tason. The divine physician's subordinates had to go through immense effort to obtain it. Information on a reputable and prestigious clan such as the Jongli was notoriously difficult to get. Yet lately, the physician seemed to be getting a little too comfortable. However, this was not the right time to relax. There were too many things to take care of. Managing the 2 reckless bodyguards, preparing the physical injury balm, and dealing with mounting responsibilities. He felt so overwhelmed that he half-jokingly thought he needed at least 2 of himself to manage it all. In response, Tason casually suggested, "If that's the case, I'll just split my body into 2. This nonchalant remark sent a chill down the physician's spine. That terrifying idea, it wasn't something to be joked about. Every time Tason said something like that, it reminded the physician of a certain time in the past, a time far too disturbing to recall lightly. Tason, noticing the physician's sudden unease, pondered silently. Is he referring to the time when I was in the Heavenly Demon Sacred Cult? The Heavenly Demon Sacred Cult had always deployed covert operatives across the continent. They disguised themselves as people from all walks of life: bodyguards, merchants, physicians, each group tasked with infiltration and intelligence gathering. Perhaps this physician had once lived disguised as a physician among them. If so, could he have crossed paths with the former Tason back then? When asked why he was showing so much interest in the Jongli clan, Tason brushed it off with an excuse. "It's because the daughter of the Yan Manor is beautiful," he said, almost teasingly. Although truth be told, Tason himself did find her beautiful. In fact, she resembled someone from his past so closely that it stirred a strange sense of nostalgia in him. Still, the physician wasn't convinced. He insisted that Tason take on additional bodyguards for protection, just in case. But Tason scoffed at the idea. He wasn't worried in the slightest. To him, the Jongli clan was nothing more than a minor obstacle, a piece of cake to deal with. When I was the Heavenly Demon, he recalled, and the reputable clans were falling one by one before the might of our sacred cult, only the Jongli clan. They were the ones who ran away. He had tried to pursue them back then, to crush them before they could flee. But by the time he arrived, they had already vanished without a trace. Rumor had it, they had not set foot outside their borders for years, after narrowly escaping annihilation. That's precisely why he now wanted to see them again, to see how high and mighty they dared act after their cowardice. Meanwhile, at the Yan Manor, Yan Haren's father was expressing his appreciation for the Dube divine physician's skill. Tason's condition has improved drastically, he observed. It's remarkable how far he has come, but he also noted that Tason still had a long way to go before making a full recovery. That said, he was confident he would get there eventually. Seeing Tason again after such a long time made him feel something was different. Something about Tason had changed, but maybe it was just the passage of time. However, this time, things were a little more complicated. It appeared that the Jongli clan was determined to see things through to the end. They outright refused to acknowledge Tason's engagement to Heron. Of all the people they could have opposed, it had to be them. It was the worst-case scenario. It felt like they were trying to draw Tason into one of their elaborate schemes, using tactics such as humiliating him in front of Heron. Their ultimate goal likely involved provoking conflict between the Yan Manor and the Golden Wall Merchant Guild, perhaps even destroying both. Tason, calm as ever, reassured him. "I'll try to resolve it." That was just like the Jongli clan, using a simple engagement as an excuse to blow everything out of proportion. Their real goal wasn't Tason at all, it was power. By manipulating events and people, they wanted to take control of both the Golden Wall Merchant Guild and the Yan Manor. Those despicable bastards hadn't changed one bit. Then came an encounter. Jongli clan's youngest son, Jongli Wung, came strutting up to Tason. He immediately began mocking him. "I heard you're not so great in bed," he sneered. "What? Can't even hear me properly now? Or do you need someone to teach you how to respond like a man?" Before things could escalate further, the Dubhe divine physician stepped in and said he had an urgent matter to attend to, just an excuse to escape the toxic tension in the air. Jongli Wung then leaned in with a sly grin and suggested, "Let's have a private chat. I know a place. Quiet, secluded, just the two of us." Tason accepted, smiling coolly. "Sounds perfect." Kyungwon, however, was concerned. He quietly warned Tason, "Don't kill him." To Jongli Wung, Kyungwon was nothing more than an arrogant, overprotective bodyguard. With disdain in his voice, he informed the others, "My warriors will deal with you. Should be fun to spar a bit." Tason found the idea amusing. What perfect timing, he thought. Kyungwon and Cheon just finished their training. And so, Tason left with Jongli Wung while the others remained behind. Although it was being called a spar, the warriors of the Jongli clan had no intention of going easy. Their expressions made it clear they were going to go all out. If Kyungwon and Cheon lost, that was just bad luck. Dubhe Divine Physician, observing the situation from a distance, found it quite entertaining. These warriors, they seemed to be the elite forces of the Jongli clan. This might be interesting. Let's see what fruits that harsh training bore. Still, before anything happened, he decided to slip even further away for safety. Meanwhile, Tason and Jongli Wung had arrived at a fairly secluded and peaceful area. Tason looked around and praised him. "I must admit, this is a good spot. You found it in no time." Jongli Wung smiled smugly. "Naturally, I've been waiting for this moment ever since I arrived. Putting in a little effort was worth it." In his own mind, he believed that Tason had no clue how adept he was at inflicting pain. Once he finds out, he'll be amazed. But Tason was curious about something. Before starting the fight, he asked, "Tell me, what exactly are you up to? This can't all be just because you want to marry Yeon Harin." Sure, Heron was pretty. So pretty, Tason wouldn't mind glancing at her a few more times. But he could tell Jongli Wung didn't see her as a suitable partner either. His ambitions were far too grand for something like Yan Manor. Jongli Wung, instead of answering, suddenly lunged at Tason. But Tason's instincts were too sharp, his reactions too fast. Before the youngest son could lay a hand on him, Tason had already counterattacked. He was curious now. Just how far did these so-called grand ambitions go? Jongli Wung, stunned by Tason's speed, was still in disbelief. Wasn't he the guy with severed meridians? Wasn't this supposed to be easy? Meanwhile, Kyungwon was still worried. Is Tason actually trying to kill him? He wondered aloud. One of the Jongli warriors shrugged. Maybe he's just in a lot of pain. Doesn't matter. Even if they all attack at once, it won't make a difference. And then, the real fight began. Cheon grinned and shouted, "Come on! Let's play!" as she launched herself into the fray. The Jongli warriors charged. The battlefield erupted with fierce energy. But Kyungwon and Cheon were determined. They weren't going to let Tason down, not after everything they'd endured. Kyungwon smirked, his eyes sharp. "Let's show them the results of our training." Back in the secluded space, Tason smirked at the trembling Jongli Wung. "What happened to all that arrogance from earlier?" he mocked. "Don't worry, I'm not going to kill anyone today, but just this once. I think I'll extract only half of your pride." At Yan Manor, The fight finally came to an end. Kyungwon and Cheol had single-handedly defeated all the warriors sent by the Jongli clan. Cheol, still panting slightly, admitted she had her doubts. She wasn't sure if they'd actually be able to take down that many opponents. But they did it. Kyungwon, on the other hand, was simply pleased. He had trusted the young master from the start, and this outcome only confirmed why. Cheol, in a daze of disbelief and admiration, looked over at Tason. She could hardly believe it. There had never been a moment where she truly thought they could stand victorious against such overwhelming odds. One thing, however, was absolutely clear. If it hadn't been for the master, they would be the ones lying flat on the ground right now. He told us everything about the Jongli clan's weakness before we even arrived at the Yan Manor, she said, voice tinged with awe. It was as if he knew everything, every move they'd make. While she knew he'd been unsure at first, it became obvious during the fight. Tason could anticipate their movements with uncanny precision. It wasn't just luck, it was knowledge. Knowledge only Tason could have provided. Just then, Byok returned. On his arrival, Dubé was already standing nearby, calm as ever. Byok, with an awkward grin, excused himself for having stepped down earlier, claiming he wouldn't have been of much help anyway. But Tason wasn't asking why he hadn't fought. He was asking why the others still hadn't finished dealing with that trash. Dubé, maintaining a neutral expression, replied that they were still reputable warriors from the Jongli clan, a clan not to be taken lightly. Tason, however, scoffed. Reputable or not, they still lack training, he said coldly. Once we return, make sure they're trained twice as hard. I can't stand weaklings. Dubé had no choice but to nod. There was no arguing with him when he spoke like that. Later, at the dining table, a heavy silence hung in the air. The older man, likely from the manor, broke it hesitantly. Is it true that you met the young master of the Jongli clan in private today? So-So, sitting nearby, looked visibly worried. She wanted to ask if Tason was all right, but she knew there was nothing she could do, even if he wasn't. Tason, unfazed, sipped from his cup and casually replied, Yes, we had quite the interesting conversation. It's fair to say it involved matters of the soul. He paused, letting the words settle in the tense room. The young master was shaking with fear. He couldn't even maintain eye contact. I had to scold him for that. Tason smirked slightly, remembering. He was so scared, he nearly said something, but stopped himself. And then, he shat his pants. An uncomfortable silence followed. Tason set his cup down and called for the servants. As they entered, he turned to the lord of the manor and asked casually, Are you all right? Meanwhile, back at the Jongli clan residence, the mood was far less calm. Jongli Cheon, the patriarch of the clan, was furious. He paced angrily as reports of the failed skirmish flooded in. Their elite warriors had been completely defeated, and by only 2 of Tason's bodyguards. It was unthinkable. They had already begun preparing for a full investigation, trying to piece together how such a humiliating defeat could have occurred. To make matters worse, Jongli Wung, the youngest son, had locked himself in his room and refused to come out. Something was wrong with him. His martial arts had deteriorated drastically, but no one could understand why. It was as if a part of his memory had been carved out. He not only wet himself and shit his pants, one subordinate whispered, he's turned into a total idiot. Jongli Cheon slammed his fist down. There's no way this was done by someone like Tason. He's supposed to be on the verge of death, he shouted. There's something else at play here. Someone else is involved. Find out who it is, no matter what it takes. His rage was more than personal. Years ago, the Jongli clan had nearly been destroyed by the heavenly demon, Tason's former self. After years of rebuilding, they had finally returned to prominence, and now, once again, they were suffering humiliation. He wasn't going to stand by and let history repeat itself. I'll crush anyone who dares disgrace the Jongli clan, he growled. Even if it's the heavenly demon himself. Back at Yan Manor, everyone stood in a line as Kyungwon approached Tason with news. The Jongli clan has sent more people, he said grimly. It looks like they're out for revenge. This time, there are a few pretty skilled martial masters among them. Tason raised an eyebrow. How do you know that? Kyungwon grinned. It wasn't hard to tell. One of the masters purposely exposed his presence. There are always people like that, the kind who just can't wait to show off. They'll only learn to behave after getting beaten down. He paused, then asked, So, are we going to meet the newly arrived warriors? But Tason had other plans. "Number, we're going somewhere else," he replied, already walking away. Kyungwon tried to stop him. "Wait, the matter with Yan Manor still isn't settled." But Tason didn't seem concerned. "Don't worry about it," he said. "They'll be plenty busy, especially after what happened with that brat who shat his pants. Just follow me." Kyungwon chuckled to himself, shaking his head. This is finally getting a little interesting. They had now arrived at the Blood Axe sect. To Tason's surprise, the sect was much larger and more organized than he had initially thought. As they stood observing the grounds, Kyungwon turned to him and asked with curiosity, "Are you planning to make use of the Blood Axe sect?" His tone suggested both interest and caution. And indeed, that was Tason's plan. The Blood Axe sect, after all, was known as the strongest unorthodox faction in all of Donghu. However, despite their fearsome reputation, they had been discreetly providing monetary tributes to the Jongli clan behind the scenes. Kyungwon expressed his doubt. "But are you sure they'll go along with what you want?" "It's not guaranteed." Taison's expression remained calm, yet determined. He explained, "They don't offer tributes because they want to. It's not a matter of loyalty, it's a matter of helplessness. They hate submitting to the Jongli clan. They're not sticking with them by choice." Kyungwon nodded slowly. From his understanding, this was fairly common in Murim. "So, basically, it's because they aren't strong enough, right?" he asked. "That's normal. That's how the world works." But Tason disagreed. "No," he replied. "It's not just about lacking strength. It's deeper than that. They're weak to the very core. The reason they pay tributes isn't just because they're outmatched. It's because they've accepted that resistance is meaningless. That kind of weakness, it rots a person from within. Eventually, they lose all their will to fight, to act, to live." That struck a chord in Kyungwon. His mind drifted back to a painful memory etched deep into his soul. He remembered the fire. As a child, he and his family had been caught in an inferno. Flames surrounded them, chaos and smoke blinding his senses. Amidst it all, his father had been desperately trying to save him, pushing him away from danger, determined to get his son to safety, no matter the cost. Little Kyungwon had been screaming, crying, calling out to his father with everything he had, while his father, with a face full of anguish and urgency, tried to send him as far away as possible. "Go!" he had shouted. "Just go! Live!" Then he appeared, the blood-spattered hound. That man, that monster, had come burning with the desire to kill. He had no mercy. Kyungwon could still remember the look in his eyes as he approached, and his father's voice trembling as he begged, pleaded for his son's life. "Please," his father had said, on his knees, tears flowing. "My family is innocent. At least, leave the child alone." But the bloodhound had no compassion. The memory of his father's final cry and the overwhelming helplessness that followed had stayed with Kyungwon ever since. One day, he would meet that man again. And on that day, no matter how much the man begged, Kyungwon knew he would not be able to forgive. Now he turned to Tason and asked a question, almost as if asking the heavens. If they are weak, is being weak a sin? What are the weak supposed to do? Tason didn't hesitate. He stepped forward and opened the massive wooden doors in front of them. Light poured through the doorway as he turned back to Kyungwon and said with quiet confidence, "Then I'll give strength to the weak." As the door creaked open, voices from within began to rise in alarm. "Intruders!" they cried. But as soon as they laid eyes on Tason, their tone shifted. A chilling silence fell over the room as they sensed something different about him. He was not ordinary, not even close. Fear gripped them, and their cries turned to desperate pleas. Soon, the chief of the Blood Axe sect, Chu Jogwang, along with the warriors under his command, dropped to their knees. They bowed low before Tason, trembling, begging for mercy. "We've committed grave mistakes," they admitted. "Please spare us. In return, we'll do anything you ask." But Tason didn't come to demand groveling. "I'll teach you something interesting," he told them, his voice low but firm. "And based on that, I'll see how useful you can be. However," he paused, his tone sharpening, "if any of you dare pay tribute to the Jongli clan again, starting today, I will kill you." The air turned cold. The warriors exchanged glances. Fear and uncertainty filled their hearts. "But if we don't pay tribute, they'll kill us," one of them whispered in despair. A few days later, word spread quickly. The Blood Axe sect had refused to pay tribute to the Jongli clan. This shocking news reached the ears of the Jongli clan's master directly. He was furious, practically seething with rage. "How dare they?" he shouted. "And those idiots who went to collect, what were they doing? Just standing there and accepting their refusal?" Something didn't add up. "They seemed too confident," the master growled. "Maybe they got some low-level martial master to back them up." He trailed off, thinking. But this didn't feel like a bluff. It felt serious. His expression darkened. "Should we send the warrior corps?" one of his advisors asked. The master clenched his fist. "Damn it! This happens when we're already tight on funds." "Fine. Send the warrior corps. Make sure the Blood Axe sect remembers who their master is." He demanded updates. "What about Zhongli Sungrak and the corps right now?" "They're still cleaning up after the third young master's mess," came the reply. "But we'll send the order immediately." Disgust flashed across his face. "Unbelievable. We have cowards in the clan who literally shut their pants. At times like this, we must not look weak. We must crush them. Completely. Only then will they never dare to defy us again." Back on the other side, Kyungwon voiced his worries. "We've made our move, but will it really be all right? If we go around interfering with tributes, the Zhongli clan will retaliate. And if they find out we're spreading word about their weakness..." But Tason was calm. "Right now, all their financial inflows are blocked. They won't have time to deal with us. They're probably panicking." Kyungwon tried to reason further. "Still, they're a powerful and reputable clan. If their warrior corps attacks, would the unorthodox factions be able to withstand them?" Tason simply said, "That's why we're going to meet people who can." At the Donghu bodyguard agency, Kyungwon's eyes widened as he realized what Tason was about to do. "This bodyguard agency? What are you planning?" They approached the entrance. A guard blocked their path and asked coldly, "What's your business here?" Tason replied plainly, "I'm here to meet your owner." The guard scoffed. "He doesn't meet just anyone." Fire sparked in Tason's eyes. "Do you think I'm just anyone?" The pressure from his presence was overwhelming. The guard quickly changed his tone and opened the gate, bowing as he was ordered to lead them inside. Now within the compound, the guard asked them to wait in a chamber while he relayed their message. "Which one of you wants to speak to the owner?" he asked. His tone grew impatient as Tason and Kyungwon exchanged glances, confusing him further. "If you keep acting like this," the guard warned, "you'll never get to meet him." Tason stepped forward, using a technique to instill command into his voice. "Tell your master this. I have something I want to send to the mystical moon." The moment the guard heard those words, he turned pale. He quickly disappeared into the halls, and within moments, the master of the agency rushed out in a panic. The name Mystical Moon had shaken him. With great respect, he bowed before Tason and said, "Please, come in. Come in quickly." Kyungwon stood frozen in the chamber, shocked by what he had just witnessed, while Tason followed the owner into the inner room. Tason turned to the agency owner and asked, "How much manpower can you mobilize right now?" The owner responded promptly, informing him that they had approximately 6 head bodyguards and around 60 regular bodyguards. Tason, without wasting time, ordered him, "Gather all of them immediately. I want the head bodyguards in a separate location. I need to speak to them privately." The owner nodded in acknowledgement and swiftly aligned all 6 head bodyguards in a designated area. Meanwhile, Kyungwon observed the process with a puzzled look. While the bodyguards seemed highly skilled for their positions, Kyungwon couldn't help but think to himself, they were still too weak to take on the formidable Jongli clan. Tason began to address the head bodyguards directly. He asked them if they had properly familiarized themselves with the weaknesses he had earlier instructed them to memorize. Their response was silent, but unified. They nodded in affirmation. He continued, "Now is the time. You will assist the unorthodox faction in the coming confrontation against the Jongli clan." Kyungwon, standing nearby, was taken aback. Tason turned to him and informed, "We will be moving with them, together. Our destination is the unorthodox groups, but the guards, they will be at the forefront of the fighting." Kyungwon hesitated, then asked, "Would it be all right if I step in to help when the situation becomes dire? After all, we're up against the Jongli clan." Tason looked him in the eye and asked calmly, "Do you think you're capable of fighting against the agency owner?" Kyungwon paused, considering the question. I wouldn't know until I've fought him, he admitted. But I feel like I might be on the same level as him. As for the bodyguards, I'm more skilled than them. Tason chuckled lightly, then corrected him with seriousness. You're wrong. From what I can tell, you still have a long way to go before you can stand against the head bodyguards, let alone the agency owner. He's far stronger than you realize. There are things you're not seeing. All of them, including the owner, are members of the Heavenly Demon's sacred cult. Kyungwon's eyes widened in disbelief as Tason continued. Through the investigation conducted by the Dubé physicians, we were able to uncover the locations of several cult members who had gone into hiding. Some of them are working as bodyguards in this agency, disguised and blending in perfectly. He added, it doesn't matter if they still don't know who I am, but now that they've heard about the mystical moon, the only path left for them is absolute submission. Tason glanced at the guards. They are extremely good at hiding their strength. They've been working under the radar because their cover is a bodyguard agency. They must not appear overly powerful. Kyungwon scratched his head, confused. When did you even establish connections with this bodyguard agency? Tason smirked playfully. There are things, Kyungwon, that kids simply don't know. He paused, then added teasingly, even if you are older than me. The mood shifted as Tason straightened up and declared, now we're going in. It's time to train you for a real fight. Earlier, I said we wouldn't be fighting. That was a joke. You're going to be leading them. At the Blood Axe sect, preparations for battle were underway. The entire sect was tense, battle-ready. Jongli Sungark stood amidst the chaos, listening as his men informed him, Sir, none of the warriors want to engage with the Jongli clan anymore. Sungark narrowed his eyes, confused. Have they all gone mad? But no, no one had gone mad. They were desperately trying to cling to what little sanity they had left. The truth was, they would rather soil themselves in fear than face the wrath of Jongli Sungark. He glared at them. Have they completely lost their minds? His mind wandered. Could it be him, the one responsible for beating the Wung? At that exact moment, Sungark's instincts went haywire. He sensed a presence, an energy, no, a force that wasn't ordinary. His battle-hardened body screamed at him in warning. He turned sharply, making an excuse to leave while commanding, keep the guy alive. Don't kill him. Then a voice emerged from the shadows. You have sharp senses. I'll give you that, Tason remarked as he stepped forward, his presence steady, calm, and commanding. Despite your clan's decline, an elder still holds certain standards. Sungark looked him up and down. You? Are you Byok Tason? Are you the one behind all this? Tason waved his hand dismissively. You don't need to know that. Not that it matters. You'll forget it all soon anyway, Sungark growled, visibly irritated. He was ready to tear Tason apart, but what he didn't realize was he wouldn't even get the chance to face Master Byok. Meanwhile, Kyungwon, standing nearby, sensed something ominous. An energy was radiating from Sungark. Strangely, he didn't look particularly strong, but the energy, it was overwhelming, and there was no way it was coming from Tason. How long do you think you can last? Tason asked Kyungwon, raising a brow. Kyungwon, breathing heavily, replied, my body feels numb from his energy. I wasn't expecting an elder from a prestigious clan to be this powerful, but I'll struggle through it. I won't run. Tason smiled slightly. He appreciated Kyungwon's resolve. That's the mindset I like. The best way to improve is to fight someone stronger than yourself. Suddenly, Sungark launched forward with killing intent. In a flash, he aimed to take their heads off. But Kyungwon reacted just in time, successfully blocking the deadly strike. Sungark let out a mock chuckle. You managed to block that? Let's see if you can block this next one. Their battle exploded with intensity. Each strike from Sungark was infused with devastating energy. In his eyes, Kyungwon was just a mere bodyguard, a bug to be squashed. And his attacks reflected that lethal intention. Kyungwon, on the other hand, was struggling to stay on his feet. Every blow felt like it could be his last. A particularly brutal punch hit Kyungwon square in the chest, knocking the wind out of him and sending blood flying from his mouth. But even through the pain, Kyungwon did not fall. He steadied himself, blood dripping down his chin. He could see Sungark's attacks now. The intense training Tason had put him through, it was finally paying off. Sungark, impressed and amused, asked, Is there anyone else in the Jongli clan who can block my attacks like you? He eyed Kyungwon. Your skills are wasted in some merchant guild. Come, join the Jongli clan. I'll personally teach you martial arts. You're far too talented to be cleaning up the mess of that young brat. Kyungwon wiped the blood from his mouth and stood tall. This isn't it. My sword technique. It doesn't even compare to Byok Tason's. His attacks, his precision. Kyungwon roared with conviction and rushed forward, summoning all his strength and willpower, unleashing a ferocious strike aimed directly at Jongli Sungark, unwilling to yield even in the face of death. The battle was far from over. The fight was ongoing, and Kyungwon was far from giving up. Sungark, with a deadly gleam in his eyes, was aiming for Kyungwon's head this time, not his shoulder. But Kyungwon could still read his movements. How could he? It seemed like it wasn't just a lucky guess. Despite the pain flooding through his body, Kyungwon stayed focused. Sungark, seeing his resistance, decided it was time to end him. Kyungwon, however, gritted his teeth. He vowed he wouldn't let that happen. Just then, Tason shouted for them to stop. He stepped forward, now intending to fight Sungark himself. Kyungwon, still willing to go another round, was stopped by Tason. With calm authority, Tason told him he wouldn't be able to use that arm again and needed to step down, even though he had done well. Tason advised Kyungwon to keep his eyes wide open and not to miss a single detail from here on. Sungark had heard rumors that Tason was nearly dead with severed meridians, yet here he was, ready to clash without even drawing a sword. Sungark sneered and threatened to rip Tason's tongue out. There was nothing particularly special about Sungark, yet his arrogance filled the air. He believed Tason was nothing more than a myth, a belief others held onto. Sungark launched his attack, sure that Tason wouldn't be able to dodge. He called him an arrogant brat, but the arrogance was his own. To think that Tason needed a sword to defeat him. In a blink, Sungark was smashed into the ground. Tason's counterattack was breathtaking. His movement, his flow, it was like a masterstroke in motion. Kyungwon stood in awe. He wanted to move like that. He yearned to be like Tason one day. At the Yan clan manor, Dubhe examined Kyungwon's injuries. His arm would have been severed if I weren't there, he remarked, emphasizing the importance of gratitude. Kyungwon bowed his head respectfully, sincerely thankful. Dubhe reminded them, humans are animals who recognize kindness that's shown to them. Cheol thanked him too, her 19th time doing so. She feared that people often forget kindness, but she trusted that neither she nor Kyungwon were among those people. They both expressed their gratitude again. When Tason arrived, Dubhe greeted him and asked if he'd heard about the incredible offer he'd received. But Tason seemed different, serious. He told Dubhe that even if he accepted the offer, he wouldn't stop him. Dubhe was confused and asked, "Where would I go?" "You could go to the Jongli clan," Tason replied coldly. Dubhe quickly clarified, cutting him off mid-sentence. "I never said I'd go join them. You're the only one I want to work for." But Tason raised his hand to stop him from continuing. "Have you dealt with the rest who aren't dead yet?" he asked. Kyungwon stepped in to answer. "The head bodyguards of the agency took care of them. For now, it'll be hard for the Jongli clan to act. But this isn't over. Things have gone to hell. They'll retaliate soon and come at us with everything they've got." However, that wasn't what concerned Tason the most. They wouldn't have made such bold moves unless someone was backing them. "We need to find out who's behind all this, or they'll come after us again." Tason asked if they'd found the information he'd previously requested. Dubhe nodded. "It took my subordinates 3 days, but we have it." Tason's eyes narrowed. "Then tell me, who's controlling the Jongli clan?" At the Jongli clan, a messenger informed the patriarch that someone from the White Flower courtesan house had arrived. He ordered them to be let in. The woman entered, greeted with the utmost respect. She informed the patriarch of the elder's death the night before, killed by the mere son of a merchant guild. She warned him that there were highly skilled people around this boy, namely, the Golden Heavenly Alliance. But she reassured him that there was no need to worry. Dubhe, watching from the shadows, seemed suspicious. He claimed that the White Flower courtesan house would take care of Tason, but the Jongli clan should still assist with their warrior corps. He said he would visit the courtesan house soon. Apparently, they had begun spreading a rumor designed to lure Tason in. This rumor hinted at a connection between Tason and the Golden Heavenly Alliance, making it nearly impossible for him to escape what was coming next. The next day, a heavy silence hung in the air as Tason sighed deeply, irritation evident in every movement. "If that's what you're going to do, then don't follow me," he muttered, walking ahead without sparing a glance behind him. Dubei, grinning mischievously, turned to Kyungwon with a mocking tilt of his head. "Haha, should we just leave him behind?" But Kyungwon, eyes blazing with determination, shook his head. "No! I can do it!" His voice cracked a little, betraying a mix of nerves and bravado. Dubei scoffed under his breath. "Tsk, what's he so motivated about? We'll get caught before we even start fighting at this rate." His grin sharpened, eyes narrowing with intent. "Let's use poison." Kyungwon flinched. What? Poison? With a casual air, Doobie retrieved a small vial. "It's a poison that'll help you relax temporarily, numb your facial muscles. It has a very, very small side effect, but are you going to do it or not?" Kyungwon paled. "At least tell me what the side effect is." Tason's voice cut through the conversation, bored and impatient. "Let's just leave him here. I'm busy." "I'll do it!" Kyungwon blurted out quickly, before anyone could abandon him. Doobie's grin widened. Hoo. Good." He pulled out a long, slender needle, gleaming slightly in the light. Kyungwon's face contorted in disbelief. "You're sticking that in me?" he yelped, voice breaking. "This is a needle made with hardened poison. It'll melt inside your body, so don't worry," Doobie assured with mock cheer. He stepped closer. "Wait. Stay still, will you?" Tason rubbed his temples, exasperated. "Where can I turn these people into decent human beings?" From a short distance, Seoyeon approached, raising a brow. "Is turning one into an idiot the side effect?" Their destination for the day was the White Flower Kurtisan house. The name alone made Seoyeon frown. "The place you wanted to go to is a Kurtisan house?" Dubei shot her a look. "Does it look like an ordinary Kurtisan house to you?" "Pardon?" "This is a courtesan house set up by the Golden Heavenly Alliance." Seoyeon blinked. "The Golden Heavenly Alliance? Well, I guess merchants can run courtesan houses too." Dubei crossed his arms. "Those guys, they kept quiet for a while, then suddenly started expanding their businesses. And not just anywhere. They've opened up shops surrounding the Golden Wall Merchant Guild. Despite looking like ordinary people, their employees are skilled warriors," he added. "So strong that you wouldn't see this kind of manpower in most merchants' guilds." Seoyeon frowned deeply, unsettled. "Seoyeon," Tason interjected, his tone thoughtful. "In the end, rumors started spreading that this place is linked to the Golden Heavenly Alliance. It's almost like they're trying to lure someone here intentionally." Doobie's eyes glinted, which means they're definitely up to something. "But doesn't that mean we shouldn't be going in there, though?" Seoyeon asked uneasily. "Why would we send Master Byuk into the enemy's trap? Worried for him?" Dubei teased. Seoyeon hesitated. "Well, I guess it's not needed." They were soon greeted at the entrance. "Welcome, sir," the master of the house greeted smoothly. "We were wondering when the most powerful Night King of Wuhan would visit us." Dubei chuckled, playing along. "Oh my, have the rumors already spread all the way here? Be sure to give Master Byuk your best for now." As Tason observed the people within, his sharp gaze noted, "Not bad. All of them are on par with warrior squads from reputable clans. The Golden Heavenly Alliance isn't capable of providing such skilled individuals on its own, which means there's a bigger force backing them. What on earth are they planning?" A courtesan approached. "This way, Master Byuk. We'll prepare a separate room for your company." Doobie grinned. "Oh, that's great!" But Seoyeon quickly cut in. "No, we'll wait near his room." "Okay, I'll go separately then." "Divine Physician, come this way," Seoyeon ordered firmly. "No, but..." Doobie tried to protest. "Warrior Cheon, take him." "Humph. Tisk," Dubei grumbled under his breath as he was practically dragged along. Inside, Xiaoyan glanced at Kyungwan. "Warrior Cheon, are you all right? You don't look so well." Kyungwan forced a laugh. "I'm fine, haha." But inside, his body was beginning to betray him. Now that the medicine's effect is fading, the side effect is creeping in. How is this a small side effect? From Kyungwan's perspective, the world felt slightly off balance. "Just stay seated if you're tired," Xiaoyan advised gently. "Or, would you like to go into a room and rest?" No, I'm all right." "Are you really all right? May I take a closer look?" I'm really fine. I'm completely normal." "That's right." Xiaoyan narrowed her eyes. He's obviously acting strangely. From a corner, Dubei watched with quiet amusement. Cuckoo. That a**hole knew about this. That damn divine physician. Kyungwan puffed out his chest. "I'm really all right. By the way, Master Byuk." He turned his head, but Tason was nowhere in sight. Looks like Master Byuk is somewhere else." At that moment, a new figure appeared. Wan Moongwang's expression was cold, his voice sharp. "Jongli Clan Chief Administrator, seeing as only his lapdogs are here." Doobie's expression hardened. "Warriors of the Jongli Clan, you guys are in cahoots with them, huh?" Wan Moongwang gave a mocking smirk. "To think you'd realize that so quickly, that just gives me another reason not to let you leave this place alive." He raised his hand, signaling the warriors. "Kill them." Kyungwan, teeth clenched, growled. "Bastards! I've been having a hard time holding myself back, so this works great for me." "Ugh," Xiaoyan frowned. "What are you trying so hard to hold back? I'll tell you later." The enemy warriors advanced, shouting, "Time to die!" The room erupted in chaos as the fight broke out. Blades clashed, men grunted, and cries of pain echoed. "Gah!" One of the warriors screamed as Xiaoyan swiftly engaged. "Let's get started too," she muttered. Meanwhile, in a more lavish room, the master of the house poured wine for Tason. "Why aren't you coming over here, Master Byuk?" Tason's ear twitched at the distant sounds. "It seems a little noisy, outside." "Pardon?" The master's smile remained fixed. "It sounds like a fight's broken out." The master tilted his head. I don't really hear anything." A moment later, the master's tone dropped, the mask of civility slipping. "Though, it's because today's the day we'll get rid of you, naive Master Byuk. What noise are you referring to?" The master let out a sigh, shaking her head with mock regret. "Phew, looks like he really has no idea what's happening. It's such a pity to lose him since he's so handsome." Suddenly, Tason's cold voice cut through the air like a blade. "Do you want me to pluck your eyes out?" The master flinched, startled. What? Tason's gaze sharpened, his pupils flickering with a fierce blue light. "Do I look like a prey that's been caught?" The master's confidence cracked. What are you talking about?" Tason's tone was icy, merciless. "You must think I came here without knowing anything." His eyes burned with a radiant blue glow, a deadly aura rolling off him like an oncoming storm. The master's expression twisted in fear. "Don't you dare! Look at me with those kinds of eyes." The clash of blades and the cries of dying soldiers echoed through the battlefield. One soldier, brandishing his weapon, lunged forward with a desperate cry. "Die!" Wan Moongwang, standing amidst the chaos, scoffed at the scene before him. "Useless idiots. It can't be helped then," he muttered coldly. At a distance, Cheon and Yuseo eyed him warily. "That's a dagger," Cheon muttered, startled as he saw Wan Mun gripping the short blade. "He's using that at this distance?" Before he could finish his thought, Wan Mun moved. He's fast!" Yuseo exclaimed. In a flash, Wan Mun found an opening and attacked. An opening! Cheon's heart pounded. He's definitely on a different level from the rest, he thought. Is he too much for the two of us to handle? Wan Mun's expression darkened as he spoke. "You're pretty skilled, but you're still not capable of defeating an elder. You move as if you're moving as one body. Even so, it would be a disgrace to the clan if I were to be defeated by you. It's time to..." But before he could finish his sentence, a sudden voice broke through. "Master Byuk!" Cheon called out. Wan Mun's eyes narrowed as he turned toward the new figure. You must be Biok Tason. I thought you were a dying man with severed meridians. Have you been hiding your strength? Biok met his gaze calmly. When did I ever do such a thing? You guys simply saw what you wanted to see. Wan Mun let out a scoff. Ha! I wanted to spare your life, but I've changed my mind. Spare my life, huh? Biok replied, the corner of his mouth twitching. Aren't you a little too fickle? I doubt you'll just answer my questions anyway. Let's do something fun first. Suddenly, Biok closed the distance. He has already closed the gap? Wan Mun stammered. Kyo! Ga! His cry of pain filled the air. Cheon exhaled, his shoulders relaxing as the fight concluded. Divine Physician, you really survived all that. I'm glad you're all right. Of course I did, the Divine Doctor replied proudly. If I get injured, I won't be able to treat you guys. Sure, Cheon managed with a small, sheepish smile. Master Biok, the Divine Doctor continued. Let's go and put an end to things. It's this way. Okay. As they moved through the building, they exchanged glances, uneasy. Aren't the warriors of this place very strong? One of them muttered. Ahem, the Divine Doctor coughed. You don't have to be surprised. I know, but the top floor of this building, the Divine Doctor confirmed as they approached. Who are we looking for now? Yuseo asked. The perpetrator behind all the incidents, came the reply. They stepped into a room where the Flower Tower owner awaited them. Are you the one? Biok demanded, his tone sharp. Don't spout bullshit and say the White Flower Courtesan House has nothing to do with this. I wouldn't do that, the Flower Tower owner said smoothly. I do treasure my own life. Why are you so calm, though? Because I'm confident that I'm more useful alive than dead. Is that so? Biok said, narrowing his eyes. Let me ask you a few questions first, then. Please, ask away. Who exactly is behind you guys? Not the Golden Heavenly Alliance, the real identities of those behind everything. I don't know their real identities either, the Flower Tower owner replied. They move around very stealthily while hiding themselves. Though I do know that they pass down orders via the Golden Heavenly Alliance. The one who gives us the instructions is Bong Mu Ak. Be Bong Mu okay? The Divine Doctor stammered, eyes wide. The Black Lunar Swordsman, Bong Mu okay? Is he famous? Biok asked. Pardon? Yes, very. He is one of the most skilled martial masters who killed the Bloodflame demonic general. One of the top 100 martial masters then. Although, as far as I'm aware, he's dead. He's dead? Yes. I didn't personally see him die, but there were many who saw it. The Flower Tower owner interjected desperately. He's saying Bong Mu Ok is dead, though? He's not. I'm certain he's Bong Mu Ok. Can you swear upon your soul that you are being truthful? Biok asked sternly. I can. Okay, you'll take charge of this place from now on. I want you to dig out all the information about the Golden Heavenly Alliance and Bong Mu Ok, then give me that information. The Flower Tower owner hesitated. I probably won't be able to find out any crucial information. There's no way they... Why are you acting like that? Biok cut in, his tone sharper now. Didn't you say you weren't on their side? The Golden Heavenly Alliance hired you, didn't they? What do you mean? You are from the Hao faction, aren't you? I can tell from the way you move. You guys possess a certain specific trait. You're pretty bad at acting, despite being from the Hao faction. I trust that you'll do a good job. Huh? We're leaving just like that? The Divine Doctor asked, surprised. Let her run away if she wishes to. That just means she has run out of luck. What? I know the location of the Shadow Stride manual. Shadow Stride? The Flower Tower owner's face turned pale. It was the Hao faction's martial art that had been lost for ages. Outsiders should not know about its existence. How did he know about it? I gladly accept your orders, Master Biok. I will not disappoint you, she swore. Elsewhere, an ominous figure known as Evil sat in a dimly lit room. What's the matter? He asked one of his servants. The situation in Wuhan doesn't look so great. Wuhan? Yes, the The Jongli clan and the White Flower Courtesan House, who have been helping the Golden Heavenly Alliance, were both defeated by an unknown group. Overnight, Evil said, his voice cold. Then, why haven't you discovered their identities? The situation has become very unfavorable. A second figure stepped forward, Evil's brother. You can't even control something so simple well, brother, he sneered. How will you be able to maintain your position as the heir like this? His words hung heavily in the air as he continued. The land of Wuhan must not be taken lightly. That place will become the foundation of our plan. This plan has waited for centuries to be executed, Evil murmured darkly. Not even the slightest mistake will be allowed. A cruel smile curved on his lips. Very soon, we, the unknowns, will appear in the world. Dongho Escort Agency's owner looked at the Divine Doctor cautiously. Aren't you aware we're breaking the rules by meeting like this? He asked, a worried frown shadowing his face. The Divine Doctor answered calmly. We're in a special situation right now, aren't we? A special situation? The owner repeated. Then his expression shifted with sudden realization. Oh, you're talking about the mystical heaven enchantment. Well, we don't know how long it'll take for the new Supreme One to appear, after all. That's precisely why we should be preparing for his appearance in advance, the Divine Doctor suggested. The owner blinked. What do you mean? The Divine Doctor leaned in. What do you think of Master Biok? The owner hesitated. Actually, I'm not sure. He used the sacred code, one reserved only for high-ranking personnel of the cult. But I don't know of any executive that young. Do you have any idea who he is? The Divine Doctor spoke carefully. I suspect he could be the hidden son of the Supreme One who passed away. What? Are you serious? The owner exclaimed in a harsh whisper. Shh! Quiet! The Divine Doctor quickly gestured for him to lower his voice. Others will hear you. The owner swallowed hard. My goodness. The Divine Doctor continued. Perhaps the new Supreme One might appear sooner than we expect. He sighed inwardly. That's what I told him, but, truthfully, I'm not certain myself. Just who is he? He frowned. He doesn't talk much after all. At that moment, So-So approached. Oh right, Master Biok. I heard that he has finally decided to come. Biok glanced up. Who's coming? The famous needle eccentric physician. So announced brightly. The Divine Doctor tensed. Needle eccentric? Wait, why is that guy coming here? So explained. Looks like the Manor Master really looked far and wide for physicians. After you came, Master Biok's condition improved tremendously, but he's still curious how much it would improve if the needle eccentric came too. Ah, I'm more than enough here though, the Divine Doctor grumbled. You're truly incredible, but I heard the needle eccentric can cure everything with a single needle. So chirped. The Divine Doctor scoffed. Do you think that's possible? There really are such rumors. He's even cured severed meridians with a single needle. So insisted. No, Biok spoke quietly. Huh? Pardon? So blinked. The needle eccentric didn't become famous because of his medical techniques. Biok explained. Both So and the Divine Doctor stared at him. Then what? He can kill people with a single needle, Biok said, his tone flat. That's why he gained instant fame. Don't you know about how he destroyed an entire secret sect with nothing but needles? No way! I've never heard of that before. So gasped. There's no way a physician would kill people. Well, it's nice to be naive, Biok remarked. You're saying that again. So pouted. I'm already all grown up. Elsewhere, in a bustling street, the needle eccentric faced a trembling man. Ha! Do you think I'm blind? He sneered. All these are empty. I saw you take it out when you started. How dare you pull tricks here? What? What are you talking about? Don't accuse me just because you guessed wrongly, the man stammered, his face pale. Do you think I could have run my business here for 15 years if I pulled dirty tricks like that? Okay then. Want to make a bet with me? The needle eccentric challenged. A bet? If there's a coin inside, I'll give you one of my eyes, he said darkly. But if there isn't, I'll take one of your hands. I'll even let you choose which hand. How's that? A murmur spread through the watching crowd. It's no wonder. I've never guessed it correctly before, one whispered. A girl Dan Yong watched intently. I'm curious. Are you really a scammer? Open it up. The man trembled. What? Why would I make such a ridiculous bet? It wouldn't matter if you didn't use any dirty tricks, would it? The needle eccentric smirked. What use do I have for your eye? The man shot back. If you're really above board, the needle eccentric's words cut through the air. In a flash, he struck. A pure physical form? The man choked. Just take that and get lost, the needle eccentric scoffed, tossing something at him. Count yourself lucky today. It's been a while since I found something interesting. He turned, scanning the street. I definitely saw her go this way. Isn't the Golden Wall Merchant Guild where I'm supposed to stay for the time being? Inside the guild, Gamujin welcomed him warmly. Welcome. It's my honor to serve an important guest like you. There was a woman who came in here right before me, the needle eccentric asked. Oh, Danyong. She's a maid who serves Master Biok, Gamujin replied. She's a maid? Yes. The Dubhe divine physician was also very impressed by her. However, it will be difficult for you to take her on as your apprentice. The divine physician made the same proposition. How dare you compare me to a nobody like him? No one would be able to reject an offer made by me. Ho ho, please come in for now. It's this way. Gamujin gestured. Inside, the needle eccentric's sharp gaze settled on Biok. He's Biok Tason, and the Dubhe divine physician is beside him. He's younger than I thought. Why is everyone doing the same thing? Biok asked, his tone edged with boredom. I was told you're interested in my maid? Yes, her energy was impressive, the needle eccentric confirmed, his expression proud. How dare he speak to me so casually? Her talent's rotting away in this place. If she trains under me for 10 years, she could become a physician and martial artist to rule the world. Martial artist? You don't look that great, though, Biok remarked dryly. Are you even good at your medical techniques? Whoa, what did you just say? You little brat? The needle eccentric's voice shook with fury. Biok extended his hand. Read my pulse. Let's see how good you are. Needle eccentric was visibly rattled. The young brat had caused him to stop breathing for a moment, something he hadn't expected. Biok stood firm, expression calm as ever. Don't just sit there, he ordered. Take a look. Grimacing, needle eccentric inspected him carefully. If what had struck him had been a sword, his head would have already been served on a plate. But surprisingly, the boy had no inner energy. It seemed like pure coincidence, or was it? His body was in terrible condition, though. Your body's really trash, needle eccentric scoffed. Is that so? Biok replied coolly. How long do you think it'll take to fix it? With a heavy sigh, needle eccentric admitted, I can fix a few of your core meridians, but it'll take too long. It would be better for you to just live out your days and be content. But Biok wasn't buying it. That's what you think, he said under his breath. I guess your skills are better than his. Needle Setsimar Edirakimas, Ilzanara Chakera and Nar Airs perked up. What? That's nonsense, Biok smirked. He told me it would take him just a few years to fix me. All right, you're inept at martial arts and have poor medical techniques. What are you going to show me next? That stung needle eccentric's pride. All right then, he declared. Make a bet with me. A bet? You can find out whether my martial arts are truly weak by asking me to fight against another person. If I win, I'll take all your maids away. And if I win? Biok asked. I bet myself, needle eccentric challenged. That's better than any offer you'll get elsewhere. Even the Murim Alliance and the Black Alliance are dying to recruit me. But Biok wanted more. That's a little insufficient, he replied, his voice low and steady. I want to bet your body and soul as well. Needle eccentric was taken aback. My soul? You want absolute loyalty? Biok nodded. Okay then, let's go out. So, who will you get to fight me? It can be anyone. Me? Byac announced without hesitation. I'll fight you fair and square. How's that? Needle eccentric scoffed. What? You intend to lose, don't you? Find out yourself. Needle eccentric squinted at him, unease settling in. What on earth is he up to? Based on his pulse, he's barely alive. Could it be? Has he given up on living? You shouldn't do that, he muttered. Sigh. Why do physicians talk so much? Byac said dismissively. A new voice spoke up. The divine doctor. It's only natural. As I've told you, if we can form a good relationship between our patients and ourselves, not only will it greatly benefit their treatment, it can possibly also allow us to spot symptoms that pulse reading can't catch. Stop talking, Byac cut him off. When are you going to attack? Are you getting scared? Fine, Needle eccentric sneered. Don't blame me if you die. Sure, Byac replied calmly. Attack to your heart's content. Needle eccentric scoffed. This is where his arrogance ceases. He's probably trying to provoke me, but I will never let my guard down in a bet. He prepared his technique. After throwing 3 needles as distractions, he would unleash his inner energy-infused needles at vital points, a technique that couldn't be dodged. This is my ultimate technique. Take this, he shouted, releasing his needles. But to his shock, everything missed. I threw 6 of them, though, he gasped. Byac stood there, unimpressed. Are those all the tricks you have? Well, they weren't too bad, but that's all it is, Needle eccentric stammered. How could that? He coughed, his pride and composure crumbling. I don't know what sorcery you used, but I won't miss this time. Byac sighed. I guess you'll only acknowledge your defeat when you die. Okay then. He vanished in an instant. To be continued. We'll cover the next story very soon. Stay tuned. If you like the story, let me know in the comments.